All right.
Now you're blowing us out, man.
Really? Well, turn down your volume.
No. Now Sarah don't know what she's talking about. Now it's what it's supposed to be.
Excuse you. Wow. I always know what I'm talking about at all times.
Not true.
I don't believe that, in fact, is true.
Shows how little you two know.
I think the odds are good that they're in your favor, Sarah, but, you know,
Thanks
superlatives are rough.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, well, may the odds be ever in your favor.
Whack.
Whack.
You're whack. Have you seen that video of the crazy, like, cracked out guy? And he's like, his shoes, whack. His clothes, whack. Me, I'm rad as fuck.
No, but I like it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it already.
Anytime you say to me, have you seen that video, you can just assume the answer is no.
Well, that's where you fucked up.
Really?
Yeah, you need to get on your videos, you know, your Reddits, your TikToks.
Here, watch the shit.
Ooh, TikTok. I'm not sure that we're allowed to. I don't think anyone over the age of 30 is allowed to even look at TikTok or their phone will explode.
Yeah, I think
well,
no.
I don't think I'm talking about it in like an ironic way.
Oh, I see.
Sure.
Yeah.
And like
that's what they all say. That's how they get you.
It is how they get you. Well, I think it's just going to be the four of us today.
Hold on, he's watching the whack video.
I'm rad as fuck, and it just cuts out right there.
Yeah.
That's where it ends.
Yeah.
Perfectly cut screams. I'm gonna go ahead and endorse that subreddit right now. Perfectly cut screams. Great subreddit.
Is it really?
Oh my god! Subscribe right now.
Okay.
I'm doing it.
That's
Okay.
a gold mine.
All right. Gold mine. What was it called again? Perfectly cut screams?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfectly cut screams. Subscribe on Reddit today. Welcome to A Shin Show. I'm your host, Pete Shin, from an undisclosed location on the East Coast. Joining me, my beloved spouse, Elsie, also from the same undisclosed location, also on the East Coast. Hello.
Hello, and can I congratulate you on what might be the best intro you've done to date? And I've listened to a lot of back episodes lately, so well done, sir.
That was pretty
well
smooth.
done.
Yeah,
that was nice.
Yeah, well, thank
the
you.
The cream rose to the top right there.
Well, it sure did. Joining
As it
me,
always does.
It sure does. Joining me, some other portions of the cream, which is to say my son Nicholas and daughter Sarah, joining from an undisclosed bunker, basement, underground location, someplace in the Midwest. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Acknowledgement.
We were supposed to say something.
Here is some acknowledgement.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate that. So, in any event, we've gotten into the habit of beginning with some personal news. News, as Nicholas explained, that is not known before. So, therefore, it's news. It's happened to you, so therefore, it's personal. Therefore, it's personal news.
Yeah,
So,
we fucking know what personal news is, bud.
Yeah, what are you, stupid? Come on, man. You got to break it down every time?
Not every time, but it was really funny when you did it that one time. So, in any event, so I'll start with the personal news. And I am disrobing a little bit because I'm wearing my genuine A Shin Show apparel, and it's actually a little warm in the sound booth. But in any event, my personal news is I went to Oklahoma and gave a speech on agriculture and national defense, and it was well received. That's my personal news.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're good at your job.
Yay, good for me. All right, personal news. Elsie, you want to go next? Do you have any? You might not have any.
I ran 4 miles yesterday without stopping once, and up hills and everything, and it's the best I've done in a long time, so pat on my own back for that.
Oh, you don't know the half of how impressive it is, because she did that in a pair of sandals. True.
Oh, shit.
No, these are specialized hiking sandals that we're taking to Ecuador with us over Christmas. So A, break them in, and B, they contour to your feet, and they like stick right on there. They're awesome shoes. Chocolate
We're
sandals,
going
everyone.
to Ecuador for Christmas?
Yes, we are.
Why?
That's personal news.
Why not?
Because that's where
Is that where the Galapagos are?
Yes.
Are you going to go?
Yes.
Ooh! That's
yes.
why.
Yeah, that's why.
And the Andes
Radical.
Mountains, islands. What more do you want?
Yeah, exactly. So,
Sounds
Hashtag
radical.
goals.
yeah, it will be. I mean, it's not quite, Thanksgiving over New York City and Thanksgiving, but it's still cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
By the way, we're going to New York City on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, speaking of, are y'all going to bring your equipment, and are we going to pod from there?
Yeah, we're going to do a podcast from New York.
Inquiring Minds did ask me that, and I said, I don't fucking know.
The answer is yes.
Mm-hmm. I think
you're telling me we got to fucking pack up our mics and our PCs?
I
No.
think we can all sit around one mic in a closed room.
Right. I think so.
Okay. Well, then I'll let y'all handle that shit.
Yeah.
It seems sensible.
The mics, it seems like it wouldn't be too hard to pack up, though.
Well, we don't really have to figure it out on this podcast.
Yes, we do. Right now.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You don't have to worry about logistics.
The logistics can be hashed out at another date.
Welcome to a special logistics episode of a Shin Show.
It's highly entertaining.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Quality
Will you hear
material.
all the sausage making?
I
All
have
right.
some personal news
Oh,
Okay.
you do. Let's hear it,
that
Sarah.
involves logistics.
Okay.
So we're very on theme. So, personal news item number 1: Murphy and I are going on another cruise over our anniversary.
Oh, very nice.
Nice.
That's
Yeah, so
coming
we're
right
going
up.
to the destroyed Bahamas, where we can enjoy beach times. We're supporting their economy.
Good. You're being charitable. Good for you.
Yeah,
Well
exactly.
done.
While destroying the
But
earth.
here's the fucked up part. Okay, so we decided we were going to do this trip, bought
Yeah.
plane tickets, but
Yeah.
waited to buy the cruise tickets because they get cheaper as you approach, right?
Right.
So the day approaches where I go to buy these cruise tickets, and that cruise no longer fucking exists. So I have plane tickets to this airport that I don't have a cruise ticket for. So I call the cruise line and I'm like, hey, what the fuck? And they say, yeah, we have no record of any cruise ever going from that fucking port. And I said, I have a link right here that says it does go from that port. And they're like, well, I don't know what happened because it wasn't there. We haven't had any changes in the past 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay, well, apparently I booked a ghost ship then. So that's super.
Well, I thought that you had sent a note to the cruise line or called the cruise line and said, hey, can you send a boat to pick us up?
Right.
Yeah. Can you just like go up the Missouri? I'll be waiting here.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's other personal news
Yeah.
is that we went into a grocery store this afternoon, spent about 10 minutes buying groceries and came out and somebody hit our parked car.
Oh, no.
No.
Not the new one.
Yeah, the new one.
Oh.
Oh, so what are you going to do about it?
Well, we filed the police report and then we're going to have them pull camera footage and do some other bullshit that's not going to amount to anything. So,
Okay.
But the good news is that it's not an actual dent. It can be buffed out. It can
yeah.
be buffed out.
it can be buffed out and we know a guy who does that shit. Shout
Yeah.
out to you, Ben.
Shout out to Ben. Yeah, it's been a while since we shouted out to Ben. Might as well shout
Big
out
shout
to Chris.
out to Ben. Let's give them all a shout out.
Yeah. All right. Ben, Chris, Danielle. Hey, shout out to you. Shout out to you, Nick and Sarah's mom as well, because I know you are listening at
Yeah,
this point.
big shouts outs to moms.
Yeah. And grandmas, I
All
think.
over.
Yeah. All moms.
Fuck,
Really.
do not tell me my grandmother listens to this shit.
There's no way she listens.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
it would be bad if my
Absolutely
mom
no way.
did too. So let's just one mom. That's all we need.
Yes. My mother's listening in heaven.
Sure.
Yeah.
From the mothership.
From the mothership,
Right.
indeed. All right. So that's good personal news, Sarah. So your personal news involves, some bad news, frankly. So sorry.
These things happen.
They
So
do.
what's the resolution on the boat situation?
The fucking resolution is that I have to now triple check my timeline and then rent these fucking cars is all.
I
It's
see.
just been a whole logistical nightmare. I have like a spreadsheet going on. So,
Yeah, anything that necessitates a spreadsheet is just fucked.
Yeah, it's bad
it's a little
news.
too involved for a fucking vacation, right?
Yeah.
Skip the cruise and go hang out with Stella. She'll love it.
Should. That was actually my backup plan. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's a good
I
backup
think it's
plan.
a great
Fucking
backup plan.
Plane tickets are here. Let's go chill on the beach.
Yeah, and Stella, by the way, is our beloved Auntie Stella. Your great Auntie Stella.
Or believe it or not, go spend a day at Disneyland.
Actually, she's just your Auntie Stella. She's my beloved sister-in-law. I always think
Yeah,
of her
that
as an
didn't make
aunt.
any
though.
sense. I was going to say. But,
think
whatever.
of her as an aunt. All right, so Nick, your personal news, if any?
Personal news. Boy, what an exciting time for everyone. A time where I relay to you my news, which is personal and is in fact news. You never know what's coming. It might be a curveball. We go in here, then I take a left turn, then we're walking up the stairs, then we're going down the sideways stairs.
A slide sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any number of grease or varmint grease of any magnitude of viscosity could be involved
Yeah.
in.
At any given point or time.
Yeah, no, I don't have any personal.
No
news.
personal news, huh?
I'm trying to,
I saw Nick's apartment for the first time this weekend.
Oh,
Ooh.
so we can confirm he has one.
He does.
Yeah. I've been injuring women at work on accident frequently lately.
How so?
Did I ever tell you the story of how I was yawning and I headbutted the shit out of this woman?
No.
How do you
Okay.
headbutt somebody while yawning? It's not that active of a movement.
Well, actually, when you got a real big one that comes from down in the groin, a big, hearty
true.
yawn.
I've never
Have
had
you
a
ever done that
groinal
where you throw
yawn?
your head back as you're yawning and you just kind of bring it forward on the exhale? You know what I'm talking about?
Never once. have
Watching
had
the
that.
camera, the listeners can't, but you're just like, "Ah."
No,
Nobody
that's
does that. Normal
That's
people don't
weird,
do
Nick.
that.
You're
Well,
like a puppet.
I did, and this woman, this nice young lady, Jillian, happened to be walking right in front of me as I did that. My eyes were fully closed, and I headbutted the shit out of her.
Yeah.
And to her, it just looked like I just backed up and headbutted her.
Right.
right.
But,
She's
but
concussed.
I tried to explain to her that it was just a yawn, but it
Yeah,
dive with her.
the explanation fell flat. Is that a truth?
Yeah.
Dave?
You know
Yeah,
why?
I didn't
Because
really
no
land.
one fucking yawns like that, Nick. That's why that's unbelievable.
I do. Okay.
You-
I've seen people do it. You will do it at some point in your life, and you're going to think back on this conversation.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
the violent yawning conversation.
and I will be vindicated.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then, so that happened. And then what was I? Oh, fuck. Yeah. I was walking. It was raining outside, and I was walking out the back door at work to go smoke a cigarette before the shift started. And this lady brought an umbrella. So I had the umbrella, and I fucking was walking with it just forward like a sword
Yeah.
and not looking where I was going. And this lady comes
You
around.
impaled the woman?
Yeah, this not the same lady.
Well,
but
thank
this-
goodness.
This other woman comes walking around the corner, and I narrowly miss her face by like a couple of
Oh,
centimeters,
shit.
but it does kind of brush the side of her face there. And I'm like, oh my God, lo siento muchísimo. I didn't know where I was going. And then but that was okay. And then later that same very fucking day,
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm reaching around the corner to put some plates in a thing. And it's the exact same corner, exact same scenario. I'm not looking where I'm reaching. The lady comes walking around the corner, and I poke her right in the fucking eye.
Was it the same lady?
Yeah, it was the same lady. And this time she was really mad.
Yeah.
You owed her your tip at that point.
Yeah, well, so
So how'd you resolve that situation? Just many
I said,
apologies.
oh my God, I'm so sorry. Lo siento muchísimo. Didn't mean to. Not looking where I'm going. I'm sorry.
All right.
Like, fucking pay attention, asshole.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm.
Although she did come just whirling around the fucking corner 2 times. You know what I mean? Maybe just give it a peek before you.
Yeah, especially when you're on shift.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
Especially
Did it
when
end
I'm
up in the
prowling
corner?
around.
Right, with umbrellas and dishes and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pointy fingers. Fingers just in the pointing position
Yeah.
around corners.
And yawning.
So yeah, that happened.
Yeah. So I take away from this that you are a dangerous yawner
Yes. Violent yawner.
and that you are indeed kind of a workplace hazard.
Look, the yawning thing was an absolute fluke. I was standing up, both my hands were in my pocket, okay? I was super tired, and she wasn't looking where she was going, all right? She didn't see that I was cocking back to do the yawn, and then she just walked right, our paths intersected on the X and Y axis in such a way that I just headbutted the fucking shit out of her.
Yeah,
It
I
was
think
hard.
the key word in that story is cocking. You kind of cocked it up. I mean, that's the truth. I don't mean to be
picked
hard.
it up.
You did. You kind of did. Well, anyway, glad no one was seriously injured. And good personal news, folks. Just terrific. Just great personal news.
Yeah.
All right. So no questions this week. I think we answered all of the questions from everyone at all times, all at once.
Ever.
Right.
I'm
that
pretty
could-
sure
that-
that's, there's no more to be asked.
No, there probably aren't. But if somebody does want to ask a question, they can ask it of ashinshow@gmail.com. That's it. ASHINNSHOW@gmail.com. And if you do, and if we answer those questions, if we do those things, then you'll be entitled, but will not actually receive a genuine Ashin Show piece of apparel.
Hey, you could also tweet us at Asian Show on Twitter.
Can you?
Yeah,
Because you did that?
Gag.
a while ago.
Because you did a thing. Do you ever link our show? Do you ever tweet it out?
I used to.
But now you don't?
Well, it takes a lot of effort,
Well,
and I'm lazy.
I put it on Facebook. At least you can just put it on Twitter. Is that fair?
I will consider it.
All right. Thanks for your consideration. I appreciate that. All right. So we've gone through all the personal news. Should we talk about any of the news of the week, or is that just too much of a drag?
Well, I haven't
Drag.
paid attention to any news, so why don't you give me a quick,
I have some
quick
news.
skinny?
Oh, yeah. What's your news, Nick?
So Blizzard, which is a game developing company,
Yes.
has a couple of games, Hearthstone and Overwatch, which are, I'm not really exactly sure what Hearthstone is, but I assume they're team competitive games. And they have these insane tournaments.
Yes,
in them,
I'm familiar
you know?
with them.
Yeah, and there's prize money and shit and blah, blah, blah. But I'm pretty sure this happened with both an Overwatch player and a Hearthstone player. But it could have been just one or the other. But it definitely happened at least once with one of them, is that they were giving a post-match interview, and one of the guys was like, yeah, blah, 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 we did a good job. Just want to let everybody know I stand with Hong Kong. Hopefully they get, their shit resolved. And the two, broadcasters who were interviewing him both just slide out of frame, like as he's saying it. That guy was banned for a year and all his winnings taken.
Yeah,
And
that's
those
right.
two broadcasters were fired as well. Why? Obviously, because most of Blizzard is owned by China. So now there's being
Make an example.
there's a huge uproar about it. People posting a lot of memes about Blizzard and shit, so that in a hope that, because people were posting that meme that the president or whatever the fuck the leader of China is looks like Winnie the Pooh, and therefore Winnie the Pooh is banned in China.
Yes.
And all likenesses.
Yes.
So they're hoping they can make Blizzard characters into memes about the leader of China, so that Blizzard will be banned in China, therefore fucking them out of their thing. Who knows how well that will or won't work. But that's some news.
Yeah.
Well, I won't get into it because, frankly, I didn't pay enough attention, but I did see an interesting thing on NPR about the fact that Chinese censorship specifically, is making its way to America through the form of business.
Yeah.
And how America should interact with that or counteract that is interesting, and I'm not sure if we should or shouldn't, but it's just a very interesting aspect of a globalized society.
Yeah, well, let me just say this. It's not interfering with your ability to speak at your Chinese restaurant, is it, Nick?
No, it's not. I'm slinging that lo mein all day long.
Nice.
And I'm giving them fucking attitude while I'm at it.
Right. I mean, and
You know what I'm saying?
you're
I'm
standing.
prissy. I got I shoot little one-liners, little zingers,
Right.
Every once in a while, I'll do a trick.
Right.
I think on the receipts you should write "Freedom isn't free."
Right. And you're right. Free Hong Kong, free Tibet. Write that on
Yeah.
your receipts.
All those things.
Yeah.
Freedom isn't free, costs a hefty fucking fee.
I never heard that, but it is true. Yeah, it's not cheap. All right. So anyway, Hong Kong. Right on.
Oh, speaking of freedom isn't free, I was listening to a podcast. Joe Rogan had this guy, Dakota Meyer, on his podcast.
Yeah.
He was a
Medal of
Marine
Honor winner.
who won the Medal of Honor.
Yeah, was married briefly to the daughter of Sarah Palin. Matter of fact,
Did not know that.
it's true.
But
Didn't
that
work
shit
out.
was crazy. He was describing having to. He was just. It's funny to see his take on things. How he has described finding a relationship with. He described this dude who came up behind him. He had to kill him with a fucking rock.
Yeah.
And he was looking this guy in the face, obviously very close, like right in his eyes, and he could tell that this guy knew where this was going.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, in that moment, obviously I'd do it a million times over again because that's the way it has to be. But like in that moment, I just realized that this is somebody's son. This is somebody's father, maybe, or brother. And he doesn't think he's wrong. I mean, he is wrong, but he doesn't think he is. And I don't think I am either. And he just said, like, if I can find a connection with that person right there in that time, then everybody in America can find a connection with each other. The reason we don't get along is if you choose not to get along.
Well,
This is pretty
yeah.
compelling.
Well, the other thing is, I think, we probably don't have enough close combat.
Yeah, that's true.
That helps.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you just got to beat a bitch's ass, man.
I gotta say, I watched Gangs of New York yesterday with Brad again for the first time in a long time, and yeah, I feel like there's merit to hand-to-hand combat.
Now, that
Bring
being,
back a melee.
I will say this about that story, which is that was actually a very common phenomenon in World War II and in Vietnam. Hand-to-hand combat was very common. It's been less common in our current wars because, frankly, it's really primarily special forces teams that are engaging in that kind of combat, and they're very few and far between relative to the overall size of the armed forces.
Right.
But that being said, this is not a new phenomenon, hand-to-hand combat. And in fact, that used to be the primary form of combat. So you do get to know your enemy when you are locked in mortal combat with him. No question about it.
And
well, yeah, I just thought it was an interesting. They were just talking about how there's a lot of unrest and unease, and people are fucking splitting and fracturing like people do, because people are tribal. But he's just saying, like, the only reason you can't get along with someone really is because you're choosing not to get along. He's like, and I've heard this from, he's had a couple of special forces people on the podcast, and it boils down to the same thing, is that really it's who thinks they're doing the right thing and who's doing the wrong thing. You know what I mean? It comes down to good and evil. He's like, there's a bunch of Afghan troops like that we fought alongside, that those guys are as close to me as any of the American people on my team, because we just wanted to get along. We're not evil. We don't want to cut people's heads off and shit. So,
But you're there doing a job.
Yeah.
But your point is valid, which speaks to a larger issue of moral authority, right? So therefore, if one of the foundations of American power is our moral authority, the extent to which we do things differently than other nations, the extent to which we are seen as a beacon of hope and freedom for the rest of the world, the extent to which we pledge allegiance to a constitution and not to any one man or woman.
That's another thing that he said. He said we're the only country in the world that does not pledge our allegiance to a person. We pledge it to a document.
That's exactly right. And that makes us different, and that makes us the moral leaders of the world, which is one of the reasons why when we as a nation behave contrary to our own values, it has a negative impact on our strategic position. So it's not just a good idea, this moral authority. This moral authority gives us strategic potency that Russia and China could only hope to duplicate.
But are you saying to keep it, we actually have to live up to it?
Well, we have to make an effort. We have to make a good faith effort. And I will say that's one of the reasons why it's so important that our elected officials do the right thing in terms of speaking truth to power when appropriate. I'll leave it at that.
Another interesting thing that most every special forces person who's willing to talk about it says, they get asked, like, do you ever see a resolution in sight? Do you think there's ever going to be a time where people like you aren't needed? And the answer is always no.
Well, yeah, I feel like you're always going to need some sort of peacekeeping force,
Yeah.
That's always
the tragedy of the commons kind of dictates that you got to have someone.
Yeah.
Well, and we're very, like, as an animal, we don't like to we're very tribal.
Yeah.
So
But we're also very cute. I mean, some of us as animals. Some of us are very Winnie the Pooh-like, even if we're evil, like that, Xi Jinping in China. Others of us are, more hideous and grotesque, but still, something that you would want to see in a zoo, while others of us are more giraffe-like. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. Some of us have more cannibalistic tendencies,
Right.
Some of us like to sew, Some of us like to crochet. Some of us like to peel back still living human flesh. Right. I'm not judging either one. You know what I mean? Whatever you get into in your free time. Hey, people have died for your freedom to make sure that you can
eat eyeballs at your leisure.
Yeah, eat eyeballs,
right.
Human or quail.
I've heard that cow eyeballs are a delicacy in Lebanon. Delicious.
She hasn't heard that.
I have heard that from a Lebanese man. Cow eyes, so good. Something he specifically said at a work lunch. It was great.
All right. Well, I do know cow testicles are quite tasty.
Pass on all that.
Yeah, I'd try the eyeball, though.
Yeah, I'd go eyeball before I'd go testicle.
Really? That's Rocky Mountain oysters. That's all that is.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Well,
mean
just
I want to
because
try
you put a cute name on it doesn't change the fact that it's the testicles of an animal.
Yeah, it does. It changes everything.
I guess.
Yeah.
To you.
Right. Okay. Tastes exactly like chicken. It all does. All right. So
yeah, it really does. Like good meat. If it's not like you don't like some alligator, some frog legs, depending on the seasoning, of course, just tastes like chicken, I guess.
Yeah, it does.
Chicken doesn't really like if you boil some chicken, like a chicken breast, it just doesn't. It's just meat. It doesn't even really have taste. Like.
How boiled down is this chicken? How does chicken taste like anything else? I've never believed this. It tastes like chicken bullshit. Everything tastes like what it is.
No, everything tastes like what it's seasoned to be like.
Right.
Yeah.
To an
That's
extent.
what
I
I'm
mean,
getting
sometimes you can't season venison enough to make it taste like something you'd want to eat. But
what?
Venison.
Where are you getting your venison, dog? Venison is the shit. You don't need to season it at all.
Just because you like it doesn't mean I have to.
There's a lot.
This is the freedom episode, after all.
Hey, look,
Right.
it's your
And it doesn't taste
constitutional
like
right to not like venison. Okay,
Right.
Just because it's morally wrong doesn't mean that you can't do it.
Right. Like, peeling back the flesh of a still living man.
I didn't say that I do that.
I
or
would trust
condone
somebody
that.
like that before I trust somebody that doesn't like venison, right, Nick?
Yeah, that's
Right.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. All right, so in other news, all right, so there are some other things. Speaking of that China thing, I'm just going to say it right now. I'm going to go ahead and work to get this podcast banned in China. And I'm just going to say right now, this podcast stands with Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Free Tibet.
I think it's pretty. We've already done enough to get us banned in China.
You think so?
I think so.
Without even trying.
Right.
I'm positive we've had some China specific comments.
Yeah, we've talked
Yeah,
about
I've definitely
them
talked about the suicide
harvesting
nets and the
Muslims'
factories.
organs and shit.
Yeah.
The Oregon harvesting.
Yes.
Been talking about the Oregon harvesting.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
fuck you, China.
Wow.
Fuck you, China.
Whoa.
Fuck China 1000%.
Hello.
Why don't you fuck yourself to death, China?
Wow.
Yeah, China can fuck itself to death.
Wow.
Not the people. Just
Yeah,
the
yeah.
government.
Like the people are fine, I'm sure. The ones that aren't too brainwashed.
They're just living. you
Yeah.
know? They're just doing whatever the fuck they
That
can.
they were told to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Winnie the Pooh can fuck himself to death.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we've accomplished it. If we hadn't already accomplished it, we've certainly accomplished it with asking China to fuck itself to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. All right. And by the way, I'm going to go and just disavow myself with that specific comment and go ahead and just say free Hong Kong. Okay? Can we go that? Go
All
that
right,
way?
if you're scared, that's fine.
Right.
Hey,
He
listen,
is. It's cool.
What makes you think I want my fucking spleen harvested, huh?
Nothing. I get being scared
mean-
of the great red boot of China coming down on your neck.
And out of the four of us, you are the most likely
Right.
to
To
be
have my
somewhere where
spleen
China
harvested.
could get at you.
Yeah, to
so
have my spleen harvested. Yeah. I was in Oklahoma this week. Crawling with Chinese.
Right.
crawling with the red.
Menace, as it
The
were.
red
Yeah.
menace.
Yeah. All right, good. Glad we
Establish that.
established that we've actually gotten this podcast banned from 17 countries, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
Well, democracy wins again.
Right?
Hell yeah! All right.
That freedom ring.
That alone is probably going to get us banned from several places.
Yeah, probably. Okay, so where were we?
Oh, hey, you
What
know
else do we
what?
have
You
to
know what
do?
I saw?
What?
There's this guy in Australia. He got in a fucking car accident. A one that needed surgery, but not like a life-changing one. Just one that was going to fuck up his finances.
Yeah.
So on a whim, he went to buy a scratch-off ticket
Yeah.
and won $10,000.
Good for
Right.
him. Yeah.
Hip, hip, hooray. We can get the surgery. No problem now. And so the news found out about this. I have a clip of it on my phone. And they had him reenact doing the scratch-off, and he won $250,000 doing the reenactment.
Oh, wow. See,
Yeah.
who says the news media is all bad news?
Yeah, he was all crying and shit. That
Love
part
her.
made me laugh.
All right. That's heartwarming. And you know what he can do with his winnings? That's right. He can catch a plane and hop on down to Invercargill, New Zealand for a fine meal at Ziff's. That's right. Ziff's, fine dining in a relaxed continental atmosphere. And Invercargill, New Zealand, proud fake sponsors of a Shin show for over 100th of a century. And then after that, he can go get himself a celebratory tattoo at the Throne Room. That's right, fine tattoos, also in Invercargill, New Zealand, also a fake sponsor of a Shin show for more than 100th of a century. Thanks.
So when we inevitably do go to Invercargill and do a live episode there, do y'all want to go get matching tattoos?
Yeah.
I think a
I
cute
think
little
it's-
microphone.
Yeah,
would
I
be-
think we're obligated to, and I like the microphone idea.
Yeah, we're going to
Yeah.
have to do that.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Nice.
So, Dad, you mentioned you didn't have any questions, but I have some questions.
Okay, that's fine. Let's get right to it.
Let's get into it. All right, if you could instantly master one real ability, what would it be?
I would play the piano.
I would be a polyglot,
Wait a minute.
Where You
minute.
can.
multiple languages.
Okay.
No, is that a polyglot? I'm not sure that's a polyglot. I think that's a
Yes.
poly. Is it?
Would you like to challenge? Would you like to look it up?
Challenge.
I challenge your skill.
I would like a duel.
Right.
Turns out
I
I'm
will
already
play the
further down the
piano in
path
this
than Dad
duel,
is.
while Sarah will speak multiple languages during the duel. And we'll see who is more potent.
Polyglotism is the ability to master or the state of having mastered multiple languages.
All right.
All right. Well, that counts. That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one. You don't think playing the piano has value?
Oh, it
I think it
definitely
has
does.
plenty of value. It's just not what I would have chose.
You could be the piano man.
What's the piano mar?
I forgot to put the extra little thing there on the R to make it an N.
I gotcha. That happens for sure.
Broke.
See, I have to spell the words out in my mind before I can say
And the
them.
lead just kind of ran out.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say is you can sit at the bar and they'll put bread in your jar.
Right, and say, "Man, what are you doing here?" Yeah, that's probably what'll happen. All right, so and actually, what'll happen is then I'll do this. That's what'll happen.
Let's not make that happen then.
All right. How about you, Elsie?
Human contortionist.
Is there such a thing as an
Are you gonna join
inhuman
the Cirque du
contortionist?
Soleil?
I'm sure. Yeah, have you seen our cats? They can get in and out of everything. What about Cirque du Soleil?
Are you going to join it?
I would probably have to. I mean, what else would I do?
Why?
with that
So
skill?
what? You would just do it in the mirror and just appreciate that you could do it? You'd have to join a circus.
I could still have the job I have now, Nick. I could live my life. I could just get in and out of any
if you're
situation.
also now a contortionist, what do you do with that? Like, you just say, yeah, I'm going to go home and contort for a while and watch it.
Actually, yes, it's like yoga, only on steroids. I would imagine it's got to be very relaxing in that regard.
Or you could just take steroids and do yoga, honestly.
I don't know if it would have that exact effect, but okay.
Yeah, so all
Competitive
right.
yoga.
Right.
Well, I'm not sure that a contortionist is a bad thing to be.
No, it's not bad.
No, we didn't say it was bad. We just said,
It's
what are you going to
weird.
do with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So Sarah, right now I think you're kind of winning.
Yeah, what do you got, Nick?
Yeah. Polyglot's a pretty good one.
It is mostly because none of us knew what it meant. So,
I do
Yeah.
like being the smartest person in the room. That helps.
yeah, it does.
Photographic memory, can I do that?
Yeah.
That's an ability.
Oh, it sure is.
I think so.
Yeah,
I would like that. That would be fucking cool.
Yeah.
That would help me a lot.
It really would. Yeah.
I wonder, like, how much of a burden it would be, though. You know what I mean? Like, how much
Yeah.
do you have to, like, manually delete shit?
Have
out
you
of your
ever
brain?
seen those videos of those people who remember every single day of their lives?
That sounds exhausting.
awful.
No, they're pretty happy about it. I mean,
Are
Some
they?
of them, are pretty happy.
Hopefully
Like,
they
if you
haven't
can
had
do it, you
shitty
can do it.
lives.
yeah.
You can't imagine it because we can't imagine it because our brains just don't work like that. I think it'd be kind of like asking a blind person to imagine what color is.
Hmm.
It would seem exhausting, I suppose, to someone who'd never seen color to process all that information. But to someone who just can do it, they can just do it. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be deep, yo. But here's the other thing. So let's say that we're granted these powers, or these abilities rather. The question is, what would we have to do to maintain them? For example, yes, you can play the piano, but now in order to maintain this level of expertise, you've got to practice 4 hours a day. Or yes, you can now speak several languages, but unless you speak each of the languages every day for at least 30 minutes a day, you will lose that quality. And yes, you're a contortionist, but unless you spend 2 hours a day contorting, you will lose the ability. And you have a photographic memory, but you got to give up the weed.
Thank you for taking a fun mental exercise and turning it into work.
Well, that's out the fucking window.
Right. Fuck that.
Do I have to speak it, or can I just, like, listen to podcasts for 30 minutes?
I don't know.
No, he laid down very extensive and
Yeah,
specific
they're just putting
guidelines.
these gay rules on it. Look, if you could just instantly master the ability, then it would stand to reason that you could just have that forever.
Right, like muscle memory
I
at
guess
that point.
if I had to, I would just listen to music and sing along with it. That would count.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
counts, right?
Fair enough. All right, so is that the only question you have?
No, it's not. All right, say you are now made the dictator of a small country. What are some crazy dictator things you do?
What, you mean crazy dictator things?
Well, just whatever. Just some things that you do now because
You
you're
can't.
yeah. Or I guess you could say king. Let's move this up to emperor of the entire planet.
Oh, well, that's
What crazy laws do you implement just for the fuck of it?
well, I don't know. These are two different questions. because dictator of a small country is a totally different animal than emperor of the world. So we got to be clear.
Dictator of a small country. Let's start with small bananas.
Yeah, let's start with that. Well, first of all, you do things like you make pizza the national meal, right?
Yeah.
Right. You do that, obviously.
Definitely some holidays.
Right.
Got to be some holidays. Some wacky fucking holidays.
Y'all are so innocent.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Why? What are you suggesting, Sarah?
You have to, honestly, the first thing that comes to mind is that you have to pass a test to be a parent.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Forced sterilization. Every dude gets a fucking vasectomy until you can prove that you can have a child.
And then it gets undone.
Right.
Wow, man, you're going straight on, totally left wing. I mean, extreme.
Yeah,
communist
you know what? I
style.
like what she's doing though. And then if you want to appeal the decision, then you can have a personal interview with me. And if I deem that we can appeal
Nick's
this, then
my
yes, we
enforcer.
can. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Very dark. Very dark. Well, I mean,
It's not dark. Look, if you're a dumbass, you're not allowed to create life. I think that's pretty reasonable.
well, it seems reasonable, but again, it's you're determining the dumbassery here.
I've always said this. Why do you have to have a license to fish, but you can create life right now? Anyone can right now, just for the fuck of it.
Literally.
Something along
Quite
free
literally.
will, blah, 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 blah. But we're going to stand for that in our dictatorship.
Yeah, let's work harder, not smarter. That makes sense.
Okay, good. All right. Well, I think my making pizza the national meal is a little more wholesome.
So what do you
Yes.
mean? Like, what do you do? The national meal. So is it mandated that you eat pizza once a week or once a day? Or
All
what's
those
the deal?
holidays you make, you have to eat pizza.
Well,
what's up with that?
no. I mean,
What
it's
style of pizza?
well, no. It's. I guess I really haven't thought it out that well to tell you.
You can
the
make
truth.
the national flag just a pizza.
You know what? Actually, you know what I do if I'm the dictator of a small country? I immediately institute the Arthur C. Clarke model of democracy, which is to say all citizens have to register in a national database, and then all positions of authority in the government are selected randomly. And so, including,
Ugh.
yeah, that's right.
Doesn't that seem a little fucking...
See, that's
you know?
dicey. It's dicey as fuck.
Yeah, seems like
I
that
like
could
it
be
though. It's,
dicey.
it's very chaotic neutral.
But what if...
That's
well,
true.
it is chaotic
That's
for
true.
sure.
No, it's not chaotic at all. I mean, listen, if you agree with the concept that the desire to hold power should automatically disqualify you from holding power.
That's true.
Okay.
I do
Yeah.
agree with that, but what if old dumbass Jones down the street just randomly gets selected to be chancellor?
Yeah, I feel like there should be a
unselected next fucking election cycle.
That's right.
I feel like there should be a panel of people choosing amongst qualified personnel. It shouldn't be like
Well, but
Joe
then
down the road
that
with
panel,
his meth addiction.
No, I
Well,
think
who
that's fine.
designates this panel? You know what I mean?
No.
What's just...
That's
Leaders
why.
of academic.
Oh, brother.
What?
No.
Yeah, but
I'm
that
the
can all be
dictator here.
rigged. That's all rigged. If I'm coming more over to this random.
You're coming
thing.
around
If
to
it's
it.
random, then it's random. Like you know?
Exactly.
Anything else can be rigged.
That's exactly right. You know, it's a completely random selection. Yeah, you're going to have a mixed bag, but I'll tell you, already you have a mixed bag. You know, our
Yeah.
system is far from random at all. If you look at it, for example, 8 of 9 Supreme Court justices came from 2 colleges. If you take a look at what our system is producing right now, it's totally tilted in favor of the elites. I mean, if you had a random type selection, yeah, you'd get a fair number of dumbasses. But guess what? Our system produces a fair number of dumbasses as it is. I think you'd agree.
Yeah, you're selling this.
Actually, it might lift all of society because you might live your life differently if you think at any point in time you might have to like serve as a judge or a
Yeah.
congressperson or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or you might not, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you're going to be ultimately term limited because guess what? The deck's going to get shuffled every 2 years.
Yeah. It's
Does
true.
this make it
I like
a good
that.
group project or one of those group projects where like 2 people do all the work and everybody else sucks?
Well, I don't know. It depends. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's my dictatorship. My dictatorship is, hey, I immediately institute this government and then step down and wait for my random chance to serve as dog catcher.
Yeah, well, I would stay dictator in your thing and just live in my palace, like, you know, collect the tithes until I became dictator. I think I deserve to fucking, you know, live out my days happily now, however the fuck. But my first thing as dictator is, first off, all drugs are legal. Okay.
Wow, what a shock.
1000% legal.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just going to create more problems, dude, if you make them illegal. Are you not?
Do you have social programs in place for substance rehabilitation?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Most of the budget. Well, here's the thing, though, is you got to maintain strong military, though, or else people are going to tell you they're going to come in and tell you what to do. You know what I mean? So first off, let's steer away from that a little bit and get back to the holidays.
Okay, yeah, right.
That's what's most important.
Right, that's what people are here for.
What I'm going to do is the entire population is going to have to register. They're going to get lots, okay? And one, like, you either get the long stick or the short stick. And there's 2 days a year, okay? On the one day, everyone with the short sticks takes as much drugs as they want to, and no one goes to work, okay? And then everyone with the long sticks has to watch the people with the short sticks to make sure nobody kills themselves or anything like that.
Yeah, but what if
the other day, then it's the other way around.
Yeah, but what if the short stick people or the long stick people don't want to participate? You know, they
don't have to.
Okay. Oh, that's fair. Okay, good.
Then they can go fuck themselves to death.
Wow. Do they have to, though?
No.
Yeah, that's mandatory. Kind of like a purgy, trippy, purgy thing.
Very trippy, very purgy. Okay. Well, these are good. And
Elsie, and I'm leaving the country. When I die, I'm leaving the country to a pet.
Snuffles, obviously. No, you know what's better than being dictator? Being a retired dictator who voluntarily instituted the most modern form of democracy on the planet, and then gets to live out his life as a statesman. Oh, he voluntarily gave up power, and he made pizza the national dish. Oh my God, what a hero!
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, it does seem a lot less
cementing your legacy there in your situation. I'm just kind of making a fucking Sodom and Gomorrah type situation.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. So, well, you know, that's the advantage of age and wisdom, right there. All right, so Elsie, did you say what exactly you were going to do as dictator?
I really have no plans because I'm selfish and I don't really give a fuck what happens in this little country as long as I get puppies anytime I want them and people leave me alone every time I want them to.
Yeah. Pay your taxes. Don't kill each
Do whatever the fuck you were doing before.
Yeah,
but
pay
give me
taxes,
things I want. Yeah,
and give me puppies. Okay. Elsie wants puppies. Okay, that's great.
Okay, one final one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go. What unsolved mystery would you like to be explained in your lifetime?
What unsolved mystery? Well, now it depends on what you consider to be an unsolved mystery, right?
I suppose so.
Would you say that like you have an example in mind?
I certainly do. The assassination of John F. Kennedy.
That's a pretty good one.
I mean,
I feel like that's not everyone has the whole story, so that could be considered an unsolved mystery.
Yes. Well, I mean, there are, what do you believe? The Warren Commission report, which says that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone? Or do you believe, as a great amount of evidence seems to indicate, that there was a larger conspiracy?
Yeah, I think it's a little ridiculous to think that that guy did that by himself.
Well, particularly when you look at the history and you know that he lived in Moscow and, you know, there was a lot going on back then. And we don't have, still today, it seems, the full story. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, as you know. I'm far from it. But it doesn't seem like we have the complete and full story on that.
Well, conspiracy theorists is kind of, you start to mention these things in history that could have happened this way, that maybe the evidence suggests something else happened. And so as soon as someone labels you a conspiracy theorist, they're putting the tinfoil hat on you and what's the word?
Delegitimizing you.
Delegitimizing your point. But yeah, that's a good one, Dad.
Thank you. All right. Any other ideas?
Well, I guess my point there was that, I don't like to throw the word conspiracy theory around a lot because I like to keep an open mind about things. There's a lot of things that, you wouldn't believe it if someone else told you. You know what I mean? If it was the same situation on a different scale and someone else was giving you the information, you wouldn't believe it then. But sometimes you do believe it because it's a bigger scale and the government's telling you. You know what I mean?
No. Can you give me a specific example?
I mean,
no.
Kind of what you're talking about. The assassination of John F. Kennedy.
All right. It's the penultimate example, really.
Yeah.
It is. You don't know, Doug?
I mean, I guess it'd be kind of cool to know who Jack the Ripper was.
Oh,
Jack
okay.
the Ripper would be very cool.
They've
That'd be a
kind of
good one.
solved that, though. They think they've solved that. They think they have. They think DNA evidence indicates it's one dude, and they know the dude.
Oh.
Yeah, look it up.
Well, yeah, Sarah, can you look that up? I'm calling bullshit on that. What DNA evidence?
Well, it's one of these deals.
What possible DNA could have survived 300 fucking years?
Has Jack the Ripper's identity been revealed?
And what database? How? No, I'm calling bullshit.
First of all, that was only like 120 years ago. And you
Here,
can,
this is from August 19th, 2019.
yes.
A book author claims to have solved one of history's coldest cases and unmasked the identity of Jack the Ripper.
Yes,
Now, give me a second. This is a long ass article.
it is. And the bottom line is he thinks he solved it. And
So that just means he did?
no, but I'm saying that it is pretty likely that it is this person that he thinks it is. He's done a lot
What
of
makes you
research.
say that?
Because I read that article and he did a lot of research. And he
Did
also,
DNA analysis find the killer? Now, after more than 3 years of scientific analysis, Russell says that Jack the Ripper's true identity has been found interwoven in a ragged 126-year-old shawl, and he fingers Polish immigrant Aaron Komonski as the serial killer in his book Naming Jack the Ripper. Edwards enlisted forensic geneticist Dr. Jari Lulaheim of
Yes.
Liverpool, John Moores University in 2011, to study the shawl using a level of analysis that was only possible in the last decade. Lou Hellenheim identified the dark splotches on the shawl as stains consistent with arterial blood spatter caused by slashing. He also discovered evidence of split body parts consistent with the kidney removal, as well as the presence of seminal fluid.
it's the
found
seminal
on-
fluid that's kind of important.
Right.
Okay, so they got the blood and they got the jizz, all right, and they fucking analyze it, and then what? They put it in the computer, and then it says Jack the Ripper. Here's the guy.
At the time of the murders, Kaminsky was among the handful of primary suspects. After the death of his... Okay, that doesn't matter. Likely a paranoid schizophrenic, he was a hairdresser. He was admitted into an asylum in 1891 after attacking his sister with a knife. He remained institutionalized.
And then escaped and was never seen again or some shit.
In the mid 1890s, he was he got out of the institute, and then he was arrested again and institutionalized until his death in 1919 from gangrene.
Right. So, and the Jack the Ripper stuff happened in the 1880s, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the bottom line is that they think it's the guy. And he was one of the primary suspects to begin with.
Right.
They just didn't have the DNA analysis to prove it then. Now it looks much more promising.
I'm going to go ahead and say that they probably, fucking exhumed the body or something?
No, they didn't, as far as I know. No, I mean, that was enough to link him to the murder.
Link him how?
I'm going with you, Sarah. They had to have done some sort of exhuming because they had to have his DNA evidence
they
to
don't.
point to the other things.
Just his descendants. His descendants are enough.
Did he have
Okay.
descendants? Did
Yeah.
they say he did?
He had a sister.
Oh, okay. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the
report
cell.
Yeah, the report has generated plenty of skeptics, many of whom have noted that the laboratory analysis has yet to be published in a peer-reviewed scientific journal, and that this guy was only able to test mitochondrial DNA, which is passed down from mothers to children and offers much less of a unique identifier than nuclear DNA, because many people can share similar mitochondrial DNA signatures. So they tested one of his descendants, or one of his family's descendants, and said, yeah, these guys have the same markers as the blood in here. It was probably this guy.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not saying it's a solid slam-bam lock. I'm not saying it's a, what's the word I'm looking for? A guaranteed one in a row or whatever, but I am saying that the evidence seems pretty clear.
All right.
Anyway,
Well, there's that, I guess.
all right, so my point is that you wanted to know who Jack the Ripper was, and I told you. You're welcome.
All right, so
Dad cracked the case. Your medal's in the mail.
Boy, that seemed sardonic at best.
Yeah, that sounds like a cool name.
what about you, Elsie?
As someone who waxes and wanes between agnosticism and atheism, I would like to know if there's a God.
Ooh.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's a kind of a big conspiracy.
My personal
Yeah.
opinion is
There-
if there is one, he's chaotic neutral, but whatever.
Yeah, to further this Elsie's point, I would very much like to know what's up with the fucking aliens. What's up with the fucking...
That's a good one, too.
Oh, man.
That's
Here's
what I
another
expected yours
a
would be.
cool podcast I listened to. Joe Rogan had Commander Fravor, is that his name?
Yeah, the guy who'd seen the white Tic Tacs first in 2004.
Yeah. And he told his story, and he's like, man, that was fucking insane. I know everyone likes to shit on Bob Lazar because they just refuse to accept that maybe it's possible he's telling the truth. But this guy is a commander in the Navy. And, he was the CO on a ship. They trusted him to defend L.A. during 9/11. Like, this is a guy who isn't a bullshitter, seems like to me. And he's like, I chased. You have got to watch it. It's fucking insane. The movements this thing makes. And he's like, I'm not talking about a radar. I had eyes on this thing. I was following it. And then it just disappeared. And there was guys, it was 4 pilots, 2 pilots to a plane, whatever the fuck they were in.
F-18s most likely, or F-14s, depending.
So. That sounds right. And, he's the fucking Tic Tacs floating above the water, and he circles down, right, to go down near it. And the other pilots are up. And he's like, this is important because they, since they're farther up, can see the whole thing. I'm like closing in on it. So if it makes a radical movement, I'm not going to be able to tell where it's at. But then from the bird's eye view, should be able to see where it goes. And it just disappears. And then 30 seconds later shows up 60 miles away on the radar. And the radar didn't like track it. It just appeared on the radar in 30 seconds, 60 miles away.
Yeah.
Insane stuff. I'd like to know what's up with that.
Okay. All right.
You want to know something else? He told a real cool story. He said this lady called him, and she was like 70 years old. And she's like, after he had told the story, and he's like, none of this is classified, by the way. Like, this is all with like the government, the Navy is openly stated, like, we don't know what the fuck's going on. We don't know what it is. Like, so there you go. And this lady called him and was like, I've never told anyone this story in my life. When I was a kid in the 60s, or maybe it was the 50s, her dad was in the Navy, and he was like not like an air traffic controller, but like a one of the guys who watches the radars. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's call him an air battle manager.
Yeah, sure. And he came home with this report, and she's like, for whatever reason, like, he showed me this report and let me read it. And it had like a latitude and longitude and said something about these machines that were going into the water and out of the water, like just dropping hundreds of thousands of feet. You know what I mean? Or I guess 80,000 feet is as high as it goes, but whatever. Coming up and dropping. And he said to her, he's like, we've been getting these reports for years. We just don't know what to do about it. And this was in the 50s. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, I would like to know what that's all about. I agree.
I would like to know what that's all about.
Yeah.
Why are they going into the water? Why is it at the same latitude and longitude? Why is it always off the East Coast? Are they building something down there? Who knows, man? What's going on, bro?
Freaky.
Crazy stuff, man.
I would agree with that. Very crazy. You know what mystery I'd like to solve?
What?
Why sometimes Mike works and sometimes it doesn't.
That would be cool to solve, too.
But I would
Honestly,
also
it's
like...
probably our fucking internet. Let's just leave it at that, bro.
All right. My internet?
Mine.
Okay.
I would just like to say that I liked we were talking about mysteries, and then Nick sounded like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, he did.
Dude, I can do a really good Shaggy.
Yeah, can you?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Like Zoink Scoop!
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Well, yeah. Do you think you can do it better when you're high? Because clearly Shaggy was stoned at all times.
Yeah, I can't believe that was just cool. Like, it's so obvious that they were smoking weed in that van and then just eating a shitload of food. They literally did that every episode, like, and it was just cool.
Yeah, well, the Mystery Machine was kind of a counterculture.
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo. It was a counterculture cartoon. All right, so what'd you guys watch or listen to this week? Now, we watched El Camino last night.
Ooh, so did we. We went to, there were select screenings across the United States.
Is that the Clint Eastwood movie?
No, it's the
Breaking Bad movie.
Yeah, the Breaking
What, you went and saw it?
Yeah, we went to...
fuck. Was it good?
on Netflix. Like, you can watch it on your own, but...
It's on Netflix?
It's on Netflix, but they fucking...
Put it in select theaters.
Yeah, and we watched it.
So when does it take place? After the series?
Immediately after the series finale.
Okay.
So, I thought it was good. What did you guys think?
That.
Yeah, I think that if you always wanted to know what happened to Jesse, and if you always wanted to get better insight into Jesse's character, just have a Jesse super duper deep dive, it was outstanding. But my favorite scene in the entire film was the throwback scene with him together with Walter White.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I did like that.
You know what? And it just goes to show you those two actors had unbelievable chemistry. That's really what drove that show, was the chemistry between Jesse, Aaron Paul, and Bryan Cranston.
Murphy said that she liked it, but that the cinematography wasn't as good.
Agreed with that statement. But also, I think what was hard for me is that Aaron Paul is just Todd from BoJack Horseman for me. And hearing his voice was like, I can't buy this Jesse Pinkman character anymore.
Yeah, dude, I can't watch BoJack Horseman. Can't watch it. It's too real.
Yeah.
Like, it hits me and it feels a little too hard. I'm like,
I
holy
love it.
shit, man.
I
Like,
love
I'm
it.
good.
Yeah.
I'll say this about El Camino. Here's the last thing, is that Fat Todd was a total fucking deal breaker for me, man. He was skinny when he died, but you're going to have all these flashback things where he's a fucking tubby tubbers. You couldn't lose the weight for the movie, bud.
That's a good point right there. That's a very, very good point, and one that troubled me throughout.
Which character?
Todd, his tormentor. He was,
his captor.
Yeah, his captor was actually slender when the series was on, and he put like on 150 pounds.
Like,
wow. Okay, maybe it's been rough for him. You don't know.
Obviously, it's been rough for him. So anyway, yeah, I agree with that. Although he does play a good psychopath.
I never liked his character. I never found him believable to begin with.
Todd.
the blonde.
The captor of Jesse
with
Pinkman.
Uncle Jack or whatever. Like, he was the one who took over for Jesse when Jesse said he was out. Did you ever finish Breaking Bad, dude?
Nope, never did. Never finished it.
Never mind.
Oh,
Literally
yeah.
never finished
Then you
it.
obviously have no idea.
If you've never finished Breaking Bad, you can go ahead and give El Camino a pass.
Yeah, you're
But
gonna have to.
I watched like almost to like the last 5 episodes.
Well, then you should know who Todd is.
Yeah,
dude.
watch the last 5 episodes again. Reacquaint yourself.
Do you remember the train heist where they stole all the methylamine?
Yeah.
With Bill Burr or whatever.
And remember
The
when
blonde guy that helped them steal the shit off of the train.
and then shot the
Shot the
12-year-old in
kid.
the face.
Yeah,
Shot the kid on the fucking
Yeah.
because he was on the bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
That's
remember
Todd.
that guy though.
Well, he was skinny, trust me, and now he's
Yeah.
fat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you know.
I kind of do. God damn, it's been so long since I've seen that show. I need to go back and watch it. But they're hour-long fucking episodes.
I'm so sorry. It's a difficult investment of your time. Just watch the last 5.
Well, no, that won't do, Dad. I don't remember the shit.
They do an excellent job recapping the whole series at the beginning. So if you watch the last 5 episodes and then El Camino, you'll be fine.
Yeah, well, whatever. I will just say this. I can see why you want a photographic memory.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, dog. I don't remember 5 minutes ago. Sometimes I'm in the middle of talking and then like just in the middle of the sentence, I was like,
Snap
what the
back
fuck
to
am I even
yourself.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Are
did
we doing a
men-
podcast right now? What the fuck?
Did we mention Fleabag last week?
No.
We started watching Fleabag, which won a bunch of Emmys for its 2nd season, and it is absolutely hilarious.
Is it?
It's
Absol-
on Amazon. It's amazing.
It makes our podcast look clean. Listen, gather,
Yes.
I
Oh my
love
God.
that guy.
yeah, gather the family around to listen to this podcast before you let any of your children watch Fleabag.
Right.
I mean,
Who's that guy?
the first episode is prominently features anal sex. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. Well, I don't judge what you guys watch together, and you're alone.
It's very funny though. She's a terrific actress. Don't know her name. I'm sure I should. Okay.
There's
No,
the
that
show
guy
that I.
was Andrew Scott. Andrew Scott is the guy in that.
There's a guy in that.
Yeah, what?
Well,
There's not really.
we've only watched 2 episodes, so
Fine.
I think there are
New
more.
season of It's Always Sunny is out. It's
Oh
out
my
every,
God.
what,
Have you
Thursday?
been watching it? It's Wednesday
Yeah, I've been
nights.
watching it.
Thunder Gun 4, man. So
Yeah.
good. So good.
That shit was ridiculous. Did you see the most recent one? When did that come out?
Oh,
Can you
it came
get-
out this last Wednesday. I haven't seen it yet. But can I just say that I loved that in Thunder Gun 4, they started right off the rip with racism and ageism and sexism and got it all out of the way. It was amazing.
They got in there. They got in there like swimwear. But right before, what the fuck? It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. There's this show on FX. Like my buddy has the TV app, so we go over there to watch it, and like we'll catch the last 5 minutes of the show that's on before that, and it's the show called Cake. And it's
Oh,
We saw an advertisement for it, and I knew that you would be all over that shit.
Yeah, well, I've only seen like the last 5 minutes of that show a couple of times, but it looks fucking good. I don't know what it's about. It's like some
It's random
trippy
sketches,
shit.
it seems to be just total random ass sketches.
Yeah, I like that. There's also this show on Adult Swim called The Shivering Isles, which is kind of like that. I like that show. Would recommend. That's on adultswim.com. You can get that.
I
Also,
enjoy.
Squidbillies. They took all the fucking, they took all the most of the Adult Swim off Hulu, which was like the 99% of the reason why I liked Hulu.
Yeah, well, that's why I canceled Hulu preemptively.
Yeah, I'm fiending for that Adult Swim, and I'm not getting it.
I'm so sorry.
New season of Rick and Morty's coming out, though. Ayo.
In November. Yeah, just weeks away.
5 episodes. Half the season we deserve, all the season they could handle.
I like that.
Nice.
That's what they said. I think they're just doing the old school holiday break, though.
Yeah, it'll be back after the first of the year. So 5 this year and 5 next year, probably. They have 79 in the hopper, so they're contractually obligated to produce quite a few. Sarah, so you saw El Camino. We saw El Camino. I would give El Camino a C+. That's what I'd give it.
I really like Jesse, so I would probably give it a B+.
Okay, fair enough.
Somewhere in the B. Now, Sarah, you
Somewhere
watched
in the B.
Right.
you watched Peaky Blinders, right?
Yes.
Have you seen season 5 yet?
Yes. No. Because we were waiting for El Camino. And we also watched Joker on Tuesday, which was.
We need to hear all the details.
No, don't.
Whoa. It's over.
Yeah, just
And now-
like that. I jinxed it.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say is that A, I don't really care for Joaquin Phoenix, and B, it was a pretty good example of why we need mental health services and what happens when those services get discontinued.
You don't like Joaquin
heard that.
Phoenix in this role, or just in general?
Well, I thought it was, in just like it turns out in general.
After some soul searching just now.
Short,
Yeah.
Turns out in general, I don't like him.
Right. Hated him in The Master. Hate him in Joker.
That's the thing is that I can't find a fucking single movie that he's in that I particularly like.
Have you seen Her?
Have I seen what?
Her. H-E-R.
No.
It's when he falls in love with Scarlett Johansson, who plays the disembodied voice of a computer.
Right.
Oh, maybe I have actually.
So-
I think I have actually seen that.
I
And
struggle
he just
with Joaquin Phoenix too, but I like him in that.
I don't know. He just makes me go, eh.
It's the hair lip,
Cleft
isn't it?
lip.
It is. Yeah, it's the cleft lip.
I
Wow.
will say this. Here's the last thing I'll say about the Joker is
What?
that they had fucking cops posted everywhere in the theaters
Yeah.
because it's a
So fucking stupid. Because of that Aurora shooting, people were like, oh, he said he was the Joker. No, like he just picked a movie to walk in and it happened to be Batman.
Here's the other thing though is that it's a fucking cop killing movie. So, they're going to hate that.
Oh, all right. Here's the other thing I want to ask. Like, so does it actually, is it just a fucked up movie, or is it like relate to the DC universe?
It relates to the DC universe.
Like it takes place in Gotham?
Yeah. It's the story of how Arthur, whatever his name
Pendragon.
is.
Pulled the sword out of the stone?
Yeah.
right?
And became
No,
Joker.
not
Yeah.
Arthur
Oh, then that's a
Pendragon.
good one. I love that.
Arthur Lenz, I believe.
No,
So-
it started with a P.
From what I
Pendragon.
understand, they've been posting cops at the movies
Yeah.
because it is such a dark and very deep, disturbing portrayal of mental health issues that they're afraid it could trigger people that are
Yeah.
inclined towards mental health issues.
Yeah, let's cut to the chase. What's the ABCD rating?
People were uncomfortable with mental illness, and that's why they hated it. I'd give it a solid B.
Okay, a B.
Really?
A B
Yeah.
for Joker. Okay, I'd go see that.
It was a little long, so that's all I'll
Mhm.
say about that.
Yeah.
And I'll let you see it, and then I'll make a comment.
Okay.
All right, very
All right.
good. I guess we'll go check it out. I hear that that Joaquin Phoenix is a shoo-in for the Oscar for this film. A shoo-in.
Whatever,
Oh, whatever.
You weren't impressed with his acting in this movie?
it's fine. I don't just. It
Are
turns
you
out I don't
just-
give a
is
shit
it-
about Joaquin Phoenix.
Is your hatred for Joaquin Phoenix kind of bleeding
Hatred
into
is
Yes.
too
your...
strong, dude?
I think it's
I
clouding your
know.
judgment.
Is your disdain for Joaquin Phoenix bleeding into your review of his acting in this movie?
Yeah, I think
Probably.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay. He lost 51 pounds. You can see every rib.
I will say that. I mean, he has. I will give him his dedication to his craft. You can
Okay.
definitely see that he lost that much weight.
Good.
You remember Christian Bale in The Mechanic?
Yeah, same thing. He lost
Yeah.
he lost a bunch of weight too. Never
Correct.
fully recovered
Christian
from it.
Bale's going to be in a new movie
Yes.
where they're racing the Ferrari or whatever.
Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that
also
looks pretty
starred.
good.
Yeah, it's got Matt Damon, Jeff Daniels. What more do you want? It's
Mhm.
going to be great. So I also read a book this week called Boy's Life by Robert McCammon. It came out in 1991 or 92, and it's just a slice of life with kind of some Stephen King shit thrown in there from 1964. It's a story of this boy's life in 1964 in Zephyr, Alabama, and it's quite good. I recommend it. It brought me to tears several times.
There you have it.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, Robert R. McCammon, as you may know, also wrote Swan Song, which is one of my favorite post-apocalyptic books of all time, and features a very, very good battle between, an excellently crafted battle between good and evil in the aftermath of nuclear holocaust. Swan Song by Robert R. McCammon.
I might actually put that on my Goodreads list here.
You should. Came out in the mid-'80s. It's quite good. You'll like it. All right.
Excellent. Look. We're running out of time here. It's been about an hour, so I want to just do my last little segment. I bet you guys forgot.
Ask
bet
a
you guys
server.
thought we're hoping maybe I wouldn't do it.
Yes.
Oh, no. We were definitely hoping that we could do Ask a Server this week. And actually, it's not even Ask a Server. It's time now for Restaurant Etiquette with Nick Shin. Here's your theme music.
That's nothing like
And now,
last week's.
here's Nick Shin.
Okay, children in your restaurant. Let me ask you something, Dad. When I was a young lad and you took me out to eat at a restaurant and I don't know, took a fistful of shredded cheese off my plate and dropped it on the floor, what would you do?
Well, if you were an infant in a high chair under the age of, say, 2, I would say, tut, tut, tut. And I'd pick up the cheese and I'd say, why in the world did I give this little shit shredded cheese that he could throw around? Right? I should be giving this kid something.
Okay.
Shame on me.
Shame on me. Bad parent. Okay, I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to give the kid shredded cheese. Now, if you had been, for example, 7 and you had done that, I'd have said, Nicholas, I'm going to go ahead and make you clean this up. And then after we're done, if you do it again, we're going to go take a walk to the car and I'm going to go ahead and give you a spanking. Does that sound
right.
sound about right?
That sounds accurate.
That seems
That
logical.
checks.
Does that track with your memory of your own childhood? In any
that
degree?
jives.
Yeah,
That
okay.
jives.
Okay.
That's the way it should be, okay? I see all the time people, let's start with the first example. A little baby. They give, first off, if you you take a bowl and fill it up with rice or noodles or any goddamn thing, and you just turn it upside down in front of your infant in a high chair and watch it just splash it all over the place, you need to go fuck yourself, okay?
You
might
need
be
to find
thinking-
Jesus for damn sure.
well, Jesus about to find you. Anyway, what you need to do, you might be thinking, hey, I didn't have a babysitter, though. So I had to bring my filthy, disgusting fucking germ with me into this fucking restaurant so we can completely make your fucking section look like Afghanistan. Well, guess what, dude? If you can't find a babysitter, you don't get to go out. You understand me? That means you have to watch your child. If your kid doesn't know how to fucking act in a restaurant, you need to slap him upside the head, or you need to slap yourself upside the nuts and reevaluate your fucking life, okay? You wouldn't make that fucking mess on the ground, would you? So make your child clean it up, or clean it up yourself. Don't just give this at every restaurant I've ever worked. They'll be like, yeah, let me get like just a little bowl of fucking noodles. And then they just put the noodles in front of their 3-year-old child. The child obviously, he's swinging them around like a fucking ape, slingshotting it across the fucking restaurant. Dude, what?
Look, this wouldn't be a
So-
fucking problem in our dictatorship. That's all I'm saying.
No, it wouldn't.
So, Nick, here's a scenario question for you. Let's say they have a child, and it's not like a whole pile of food that they're just throwing everywhere, but they make a mess. A general, 2 to 3-year-old kid mess. And they just tip you really well.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's cool.
All right.
If you tip fat, honestly, if you tip fat, you can do whatever the fuck you want. I
Good.
really don't care. The only reason that I get angry is if you act like a jackass, don't know how to act in public, and then you don't fucking tip. You should be taken out back and shot in that situation.
Yeah,
But
that's bullshit. See, I'll leave a messy table with a kid because I was a single parent, but I'm going to give 20-25% tip.
yeah. If you tip fat, you can do whatever the fuck. You can talk to me however you want. You can say whatever you want. You can spit in my mouth. I don't fucking care.
Wow.
If you leave a fat tip.
Okay, so what's a fat tip? What percentage is a fat tip that one
Over
can then
20%.
purchase spitting in your face?
Over
Okay.
20%. Okay,
All right.
good. All right.
That's a fat tip. 20% is a regular tip. And then anything under that, I feel like I did something wrong, or you're
Right.
just a fucking asshole.
Okay.
Right.
Very good.
But I don't want to just be like, hey, tip your server, because that's the obvious one.
Yeah, come
you
on
should
now.
just do that. In case you don't know, if you don't tip your server still has to tip out that table to the busboy and the bartender. So not only did I not make money, I just paid you to eat in my section. You understand? It's not like I'm not getting paid. I paid you to eat in my section. Well, I didn't pay you, but I paid somebody. You know what I mean? So
I didn't get paid for damn sure.
money me now. Okay.
New rule for your dictatorship is everybody should have to have been a server at least once in their life.
Yeah, you have to work in customer service for 2 years to attain citizenship.
Yeah,
I like it.
We can make that. We can work that into the whole random selection thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that should be like, you know how in Israel, when you're 18, and I'm sure in other countries, this is the first one that popped to mind, because I saw a picture of Gal Gadot getting
Right.
conscripted
That will
into
make you think of Israel's military rules every day, won't it?
Yeah, it sure
Yeah.
will. It
Yeah.
makes. I mean, Elsie's not gay, but if she was,
I am gay for Gal Gadot.
I
think,
ain't gay,
Love you,
but
girl.
Gal Gadot is Gal Gadot. Yeah.
Right.
okay, I think there's a lot of love for
She
Gal
could
Gadot.
make me her little bitch.
All right, here we are. A lot of love for Gal Gadot in this room.
I'd conscript in her military.
Right.
For sure.
Okay. Well, this
Yeah,
is
all right, so let me put a bow on top of it.
Yeah.
Make your kids act right or don't bring them into the fucking restaurant, you goddamn idiot. And if you didn't know that, it's not too late to change. I'm only telling you because I care and I love you.
and this
I
has
don't.
been Ask a Server and or what's the other thing we call it? What do we
I called it a restaurant etiquette
Etiquette.
public service announcement.
Yeah, this has been
That's
right. This has been a restaurant etiquette public service announcement with Nick Shin. Thanks, Nick.
yeah, you're not welcome.
All right. Well, no time for sports, but football and fights happen this week. Anything else?
Yeah. Nah.
Eh.
All
You
right.
know, I heard talks of Israel Adesanya maybe doing a super fight with Stipe.
Ooh.
Really? Are they-
Moving, skipping light heavyweight and going to heavyweight, which I honestly don't think is going to happen. But his coach was like, no, we're not letting Israel Adesanya fight John Jones. Why? Because John Jones is a piece of shit human being, and he needs Israel. Israel doesn't need him. So,
I like that. I like the Stipe super fight. I mean,
Yeah,
if he
I
could
just
bulk
think-
up, eat his protein, that kind of thing.
yeah, I don't see anyone in the middleweight division defeating Israel Adesanya, but I really think Stipe is a little bit too big for.
I agree. Israel's pretty wiry.
Yeah, he's a small. He walks around at middleweight. Like, he doesn't really have to cut weight. He's got to cut 5-10 pounds, maybe.
It's hard to add 20, 25 pounds, though. I
Yeah,
mean,
you
and
can
really
bulk
carry
up
it well.
that much and not get fucked up by Stipe, not get knocked out.
Well,
you know?
yeah, and it greatly affects your cardio if
Yeah,
you're
and
a
your
lot heavier.
precision,
Yep.
So
I think it's
we'll
a
see
bad
about
call.
that.
Yeah. You know who I think Israel Adesanya ought to fight?
Who?
I think he ought to go box. I think he ought to go box
He
whoever.
used to be a boxer.
Yeah, I think he ought to go box to whoever the current middleweight champion of the world is in a mega fight.
Well, he probably could do that. Well, he definitely could do that.
He'd probably have better success than Colin or Corey or what the hell's his
Conor
name?
McGregor.
Connor. I've already forgotten Connor.
I don't
McGregor.
know about that because he was fighting Floyd Mayweather. That was like, and it was such a fucking. That was the perfect storm. You know, they
Yeah.
just was talking shit on each other
Yeah.
behind the scenes. They were just jerking each other off with $100 bills. And everybody wanted to see it. Like, you know.
All right. Well, I hear you. I'm not saying it would be as lucrative a fight. I'm just saying that Israel Adesanya would probably have better success than Conor McGregor did against Money
yeah.
Mayweather.
Certainly.
Yeah, I think he'd actually stand a chance of being able to outbox a boxer.
But that begs the question: do you think he's capable of outboxing Floyd Mayweather?
Yes, I do.
Really?
He's got the age on him. I think he could. I think he could stand toe-to-toe to Floyd. Floyd Mayweather is 67 years old.
He is.
And, well, he's old. I mean, I don't know exactly how
He's
old he
102,
Christ.
actually.
You sounded so confident.
Yeah, you had me hook, line, and sinker right there.
Yeah, I sure did. I sure
That would
did.
have blown my mind, dude.
He
If
was born
beat
in
Conor McGregor's
77,
ass
so
in
he's
his-
younger than Dad.
Yeah, okay.
Really? Floyd Mayweather was born in 77?
Yeah.
Shit, man.
Yeah, so he is old.
He is old. I mean, he's in his 40s. That's
42.
That's too old to be a boxer.
Well, he don't box really anymore unless you pay him. I mean, you're never too old to be a boxer when you're boxing for $200 million.
Well, that's true. By that standard, I'm ready to put my gloves on and go toe-to-toe with Israel Adesanya. I'm calling you out, Israel. I'm calling you out.
Dude, he would look at you and you would pass out.
No.
I would never feel. I would feel a lot more comfortable with you fighting Floyd Mayweather than Israel Adesanya.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Floyd Mayweather's a defensive boxer. You know, he's got the footwork, the points. Israel Adesanya is like just a striking artist. You're for sure going to get hurt.
well, you know what? I'm just going to say this. I appreciate the fact that you're concerned for my safety. Thank you.
I am.
All right.
Well,
good.
it would just be fucking brutal to watch any normal man fight Israel Adesanya. I don't think I'd want to watch that unless it was like a bar fight. You know, someone like caught it on their cell phone and some dude just didn't know who he was fucking with and started some shit with Israel Adesanya. That would be cool.
Yeah.
I've seen a video of that with Matt Serra,
Interesting.
the former middleweight champion of. Or wait, no, was he middleweight?
I don't know. This is why you don't get into bar fights.
But he beat GSP. This guy was trying to fuck Matt Serra up, and Matt Serra just like was straddling him, you know, had his wrist. The dude's like, I'm gonna fuck you up, dude. I'm gonna fucking kill you. And Matt Serra's just like, calm down, man. Calm down. It's okay. And then the cops come up and they're like, you need to get off him. And he's like, are you ready for me to get off him? Like, I'll get off him. But he's gonna be pissed. Are you ready for that? And they're like, just get off him, sir. And then
All right.
gets up, starts swinging. They gotta fucking tase him and shit. Good. Matt Serra showed supreme grace in that video.
Well, that's
He
wonderful.
just ended that man's life.
Well, I'm glad he
easily
didn't.
1,000
Well,
times
you
over.
know. But so let me just say this about that, which is this. I don't have any plans to fight anybody other than Israel Adesanya. I'm calling you out, Israel. I'm calling you out.
This Sunday night.
Well, Israel probably doesn't listen to the pod. I think I'm safe. I think I'm a lot
I don't
safer.
think he listens to no pods.
I think I'm a lot safer from Israel Adesanya than I am from China. I'll be candid with you.
Yeah, that's probably for damn sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're both looking at your phone, so I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up.
Look, your wife is the one who's texting you during the show. What do you
Sorry,
want from-
I'm getting rid of memes out of my phone, so I'm sending the fun ones to them before I delete them. You've seen them
Okay.
before.
You're not supposed to text the kids during the show. It's weird.
Well, it's the end. I'm sorry.
All right, it is the end.
Right.
Kids, good to talk to you. Any parting shots? Any big plans for the week?
Big plans for the week. No.
We might go haunted housing this weekend.
Oh,
man. Fun.
Wants
That's-
to pony up.
Oh,
Man,
no.
I had to fly
It's
out
too
for that.
expensive. I'm sorry.
Oh, darn it.
I meant to tell you. Maybe not on this show, but it's a lot of bucks. And my money is kind of funny.
Me
So-
money now.
Yeah.
You money me now always.
Yeah. So I can't pony it up. But there's always next year.
Yeah. You know, we need to plan for a family hound.
Yeah.
Family hounding.
Right. Who would?
I'll allow it.
First thing we have to do, pick someone to hound. Anyway, no, a family haunted housing experience. We need to do that again.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was good.
Yeah.
I would like that.
All right. Well, maybe next year because we don't have enough time or money to, and we're planning on all meeting in New York for Thanksgiving. So next year, though, it's on our docket.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right.
Word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
word.
Okay. Let's wrap this up, folks.
All right. A Shin Show is a production of Shinfluence. It features the voices and opinions of the Shin family, which are exclusively and entirely their own. It's brought to you on a fake basis by Ziffs, dining in Invercargill, New Zealand, and by The Throne Room, also in Invercargill, New Zealand, a tattoo shop, both of which have been fake sponsors of A Shin Show for over 100th of a century. You can catch A Shin Show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure and join us next week when we're going to hear Nicholas Shin say,
Don't piss in your own cereal before you meet your grandma.
Good advice.
that's wisdom, the gentle wisdom of Nick Shin. All right, great. Well, I love you, kids.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Love you, bye.
Bye.